Hello. Hi, I'm Rifki, and how was your day? What? It's stuck? Are you bored? Oh, do you like traveling but you don't have the time? Don't worry, I'm here. You just kick up your feet and enjoy your tour. I'll bring you to the museum. What? Museum is boring? No. I make sure it's not a boring museum. Do you ever thinking, wishing, or imagine your life as a king or a royal family in a kingdom? Or you like story or drama about Victoria era? I will bring you to the Victoria era. I'm not time traveler, okay? So yeah, let's go to the tour. Audley End was the site of the Walden Abbey and a Benedict, a monastery that was dissolved and granted at the Lord Chancellor as Sir Thomas Audley in 1538 by Henry VIII. The abbey was converted into domestic house for him and was known as Audley End. As you can see now, the building house Audley End House and Garden is not real built because half of the building was destroyed and passed ago. It's passed a long time ago. Audley End House was offered to government during the Drink evacuation, but the offer was declined due to its lack of facilities. It was working in March 1941 and used a base camp by a small number of units before being turned to the Special Operation Executive. The COA used the house to the General Holding Camp before using its Polish brand, designed a special training school for T or UTS 40. It was a base for Chikochemi was memorial to the 100 Poles who died in Saffron and the main drive. The Polish Show War Memorial unveiled on 20 June 1583. The house was demolished by Thomas Howard, first Earl of Suffolk, and a much grander mansion was built and primarily for entertaining James I. Wrote the king and queen, each having their own suite room, and it's reputed that Thomas Howard told the King James had spent more to £200 sterling creating this grand house, and it may be the king that had unwillingly contributed. And this is finally the big result and very popular and very spectacular building. The blend to Jacobean, Georgian, and 19th century Foxy Jacobean and Flasher. As you can see, this is the map of Audley End House, and this ground floor plan and very much room di sini, and the color is the coloring is like is era this time or era about this building. And the white is meaning no visitor. No, you can allow it. You not allow it to visitor access. It's not a visitor access. As you can see, and this is the first floor from Audley End House and Garden, and yeah, it's small, but it's more than small. but this very room you can access.
So yeah, as you can see, this is map of third floor from Audley End House, and this is the highest floor from the Audley End House and the garden.
So this is a grand hall room, and this is first room you can see if you come to the Audley End House. In this room usually has for big grand event like wedding, Christmas dinner, banquet, or etc. for Lord and Lady Braybrooke. In this room have some big screen, and this is a screen made from oak wood, and this is phone from the Chinese mid 9th centuries, and it's very old. And yeah, few years ago, Lord and Lady Braybrooke family used this room as for playing badminton. Yeah. Audley End House has many taxidermy collection, and this taxidermy come from many animals. One of them is this taxidermy bird specimen, and this is came from a past ago. Had two great bastards here named Otis and Tarda, and the three bastards in the case. This large flying bird became extinct in Britain in the 1830s century. The fourth Baron Braybrooke's Natural History Collection reflection Victorian pageant for natural history and collection specimens show hundreds of stuffed and mounted birds in one of the best historic collections of its kind in the country. Furthermore, Audley End House has some curiosities, and one of them is like chocolate nougat from Africa, and the age of chocolate is more than 120 years old, and the nougat chocolate is still in the pack and never touch human. And more some curiosities more from Audley End House and the garden. Is version combination model of comfort, excellent splendor as Sir John Griffin, and the secretary of soul created the Raymond the Jacobin Audley End House. This is the roof of the salon room in the Audley End House. It's very beautiful and spectacular. As you can see, yes, the relief is different relief, and but you know, it's like, oh my god, this is very. And this is Margaret Audley, the Chancellor of this doctor from Thomas Albert Audley, and living in 1544 until 1564. And yeah, as you can see, this is the daughter of Lord Audley. Yeah, and yeah, she is Protestant. And this is the Thomas Howard, Fort Duke Norfolk in 1536 until 1520 until 1572. And then this is the portrait of Lady Essex Howard, Lady Griffin in the living in 1641 until 75. Yeah, as you can see, this one, this is daughter of Susanna. And then this is the portrait of Edward Griffin and first Baron Griffin, living in 1630 until 1710. And Edward Griffin was Lieutenant Colonel of Duke York Regiment Group of Guard, and he was treasurer of the Clamber or Camber to both Charles II and James II. As you can see, this is portrait and a face. Yeah. And then this is James Griffin, the second Baron of Griffin, and lived and is 66-7 until 65. Yeah, as you can see, this one is from He's only son of Edward Griffin, yeah. And then this is the Honorable Elizabeth Griffin, the Countess of Portsmouth, and lived in 1691 until 1762. Yeah, very much, yeah. And yeah, this is of the children's and Taylor and Audley End House and estate were divided among the Howard family. Audley End House survival was due to the Countess of Portsmouth. Yeah, as you can see this face of Portsmouth. Beautiful, right? It's beautiful. And then this is the Hon and the Griffin, Miss William Whitehall, living in 1695 until 1770. And this is a younger sister from Elizabeth Griffin. And then this is Sir John Griffin, our fourth Lord Howard de Walden, and the first Baron Braybrook. Braybrook is named family, and this is from the name is very special name. If you have name Braybrook, you very special in England, especially in the United Kingdom. And this is Sir John Griffin. Very have a big consider from the Audley End House. As you can see, this is the face of Sir John Griffin, and this is not young. This is a portrait of not young. So it's like old man, but it's not too old, right? Yeah, very much portrayed in Audley End House, and very much historical. Yeah.
Audley End House has bigger garden around the building. If you're too boring with there's in the inside of museum, you can just chill and relax, let off your steam with your family or children in here, and you can play. And here has a playground too, or just like you wooding by riding horse, or just like you riding horse around Audley End House. It's not a problem. You can riding horse in here, and if you want some afternoon tea or snack, you can buy it and hall tea room, or you can, and in here too you can buy some souvenir from Audley End House.
Children have a backyard. Backyard of Audley End House have like a laundry room or kitchen, and from farm and other. By the way, who's use bread as a breakfast? You? Maybe we have some bread with butter, but do you know where the from butter? The butter is from what? Okay, maybe you can know the butter like a normal conventional butter is from milk, as you know, from cream. But do you know what in the Victorian or middle century, what can make some butter? So yeah, this is Mr. Funny. We can show you how to make a butter.
Morning, Fanny.
Good morning, Mrs. Crocombe.
I think I'd like some butter with herbs.
Of course. Would you prefer parsley or thyme?
I think thyme.
Of course.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Mrs. Crocombe. Good day. Oh, I do so like it when Mrs. Crocombe comes to visit me here in the dairy. And she trusts me, you know. So I was just going to make the normal standard batch of butter today, but now she has asked for thyme butter, which is a speciality of mine. And if you would like, you can help me, but I will have to check that you have scrubbed your hands and your nails. All right? Follow me. There you are. Have you done your hands? Good. So the first thing we must do is scald all of our equipment. So all of the utensils we are going to use. You're lucky because I have done the churn for you. All right? So don't worry about your hands because we will have the buttermilk later on to soothe them. So once you've got your water in there, just cover it so that they are as clean as possible. Years ago, I used to work on a farm of 500 acres and I used to have to milk the cows myself. But here at Audley End, the cowkeeper does that for me. He brings me the milk, which I then leave to settle in pans overnight. The cream rises to the top and I scrape that off into a jug and then pour the cream into the churn. Now I tend to pour it at quite a height so that it aerates, so that it turns quicker. And now we're ready to begin churning. So the key to making good butter is to have a measured and steady pace. We are very lucky here at Audley End House because our cows are a Jersey herd and they produce the best, the finest milk. So the butter churning process can take anything up to 30 minutes to an hour, and it is dependent on the weather, amongst other things. You will feel resistance when stage 1 happens, which is the whipped cream stage. And I'm starting to feel that now, so let's have a little look. And yes, here we have stage 1, whipped cream. So I think we have probably another 30 to 35 minutes to go. The second phase you need to look out for when you are making butter is when it begins to turn. So you will feel a difference and you will hear a difference. And when you go to look inside, you will see that the butter is now slightly powdery, so it is beginning to separate. It looks, forgive me, a little bit like baby sig. And it is quite pungent to smell. Now you might be here for up to an hour. But I'll be honest with you, there are many things that can affect the butter. For example, stormy weather, or just your own mood, some people say. Sometimes in the winter, we have to colour the butter. We tend to use marigolds because, quite frankly, using carrot juice makes the butter taste, well, like carrots. The third phase you need to look out for is when the buttermilk and butter separate. Now you will hear this inside the churn and you will feel it. And I think we're ready. Let's have a look. Yes, we're ready. So the next thing to do is to drain the buttermilk. Then I will remove the paddle and then scoop out all of the butter. It is then washed in spring water and then drained. Oh, there you are. Thank you for being so patient. It's just it takes about an hour or so to have all of the water drain out of the butter. And it's important that we do wash it because we don't want it to go rancid. Then you can add salt, or as Mrs. Crocombe asked me earlier, thyme for the herbal butter. So what needs to happen now is for it to be patted. And these are the butter pats which we scalded earlier. So the best thing to do is divide it into more manageable sized chunks because you don't want to make a mess. like so, and then just patting it to get rid of any excess liquid. This is the stage where we add salt or any other ingredients. So, here is the normal butter that I make every single day here at Audley End House, just salted butter. And here is the butter that Mrs. Crocombe asked me to make this morning, made with thyme. And here is the butter that will be going up to the top table for Lord and Lady Braybrooke. As you can see, I have used 3 separate moulds. And there we have it, butter made here at Audley End House, courtesy of Lord and Lady Braybrooke's Jersey herd.
Seeing a butter is made make me hungry. By the way, do you like cooking, or do you like some food? I will show you food is prepared and served for Lord and Lady Braybrooke. And yeah, Mr. Crocombe, I will show you how to make some food from Victorian way and served.
Oh, hello. You gave me such a fright. It would have been a disaster if I dropped this turbot. Turbot is one of the grandest fish to serve and is very popular with families like Lord and Lady Braybrooke's. I have read the Queen eats it quite regularly. Lord and Lady Braybrooke have guests for dinner and they've asked me to serve turbot. And so I've chosen one of the most traditional of recipes, turbot à la anglaise, or turbot in the English style. For this recipe, you will need a turbot, lemon, salt, a lobster cooked and cooled, butter, cayenne pepper, and some velouté sauce. First, I'm going to prepare my fish. It's already been gutted by the fishmonger and then washed and patted dry by my scullery maid. I'm going to remove the fins. Next, I'm going to rub it all over with half a lemon. Naturally, I'm going to cook this in my turbot kettle. It's always pleasing to use something for its specific purpose. A turbot is diamond-shaped, and so is my turbot kettle. I have heard that some people use theirs for steaming puddings. I suppose that is because you can get more than one pudding in at once. Now to cook the fish. Add fresh spring water. Do not use cistern or piped water, which may be stale. This fish is far too expensive to be ruined. Now add salt. Timing is everything. Remember, it will still cook even after you've taken it off the heat. There are many different sauces that complement this recipe. Choose one or two that your employer enjoys the most. I've chosen a lobster sauce after speaking with Lady Braybrook this morning. To my hot velouté sauce, I'm going to add the diced lobster. And then the pounded roe. The butter, the lemon juice, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. This now needs to be put through a sieve. Which one of my kitchen maids can do. Once it's nice and smooth, I shall reheat it just before it goes up to the table. Oh, I better check on the turbot. Now that the fish is cooked, it needs to be served straight away on a hot plate, as it's served with the soup, but eaten after it. I've added parsley all the way around the outside as garnish. And a napkin will help keep the heat in. There you are. Turbot à la anglaise.
Wow, that's very, very wonderful food. Yeah. I never taste food like that. But surely it's very, very unique and very, very authentic. Okay, by the way, do you ever imagine or wonder how the Victorian clean their clothes? I think same like you. Maybe why the Victorian clean their clothes? Okay, this is, and I'm here, and I will show you about how the Victorian clean their clothes. And this is
written to our local Member of Parliament, and I'm hoping he's going to represent our views in the next debate on women's suffrage.
Oh, I see.
Well, don't you take an interest in these affairs, Mrs. Crocombe?
Oh, I don't know that I have the time.
I think that Lady Braybrook is an example to follow. She takes a great interest in all the local affairs, you might have noticed. After all the things she has done for the necessitous children of Walden, all her charitable activities and so forth.
Well, I'll think about it. Oh, look, here's your applicant for the laundry.
Ah, good morning. I see that you're punctual. Very good. I dare say you'd like a tour of the service wing. We shall go to the laundry directly. This is the wet laundry. Now, I understand you've been assisting your mother with her local cottage laundry, but you will find this a very different proposition at Audley End. You see, you will have to deal with 600 towels every week, for example, and you must be quite robust, because we do like our laundry maids to have stamina. We would never take a girl fresh from school, for example. They simply don't have the right experience or the strength. And we certainly wouldn't take somebody from the workhouse. We are scrupulous about hygiene here at Audley End. For instance, in one country house that shall be nameless, do you know, a case of scarlet fever was brought in with a laundry basket. Oh, Quelle horreur! That would never happen here. So, we operate on a weekly laundry cycle here. The laundry is delivered every Sunday evening by rail, depending on where Lord and Lady Braybrook have been staying. Typically, their London residence, Upper Brook Street, or it could be Bournemouth or Scotland. You must rise at 3 on Monday morning to make sure all the fires are lit. Then you can return to bed for a couple of hours and then rise again to take a cup of tea to your laundry superiors, Ellen and Sarah. You must make sure you show them all due respect at all times, for you are their junior. You must know how to identify various stains. Now, Lady Braybrook's personal maid will deal with any stains pertaining to her lace, for example. But there are many other stains, aren't there? For example, how would you deal with, say, ink stains? Of course, you would use buttermilk, wouldn't you? And now let's move on to the coppers, shall we? There are many different types of treatment depending on the nature of the laundry. For instance, Mrs. Crocombe's kitchen cloths will need a very hot boil. So we put the washing in the copper here when it's at quite an average temperature, and then we wait for the temperature to come to the boil. Mrs. Crocombe, as you will know, maintains very high standards of hygiene in her kitchen. I'm sure you're quite au fait with wringing out excess water, but you may well find that this mangle helps you in that process. Always be sure to use a mangle cloth, and do be careful, don't trap your fingers in it. The laundry drying lawn is just out there, behind the cloud hedge, where the family's laundry can dry in privacy. You do know how to bleach your laundry, don't you? We sometimes use the rather quaint method of using the action of the sun upon our linens to make them whiter. Quite often our linens are cream-coloured, and to reach the optimum level of white, well, we might have to and fro for quite some months before we reach that white that we so desire. We usually prefer our grass that we lay our linens upon to be of medium height, and preferably on a frosty day. And however long it takes, well, so be it. Patience is a virtue. Now we've done the washing and the wringing. Now it's time to do the ironing and the finishing. Now, we like to iron things when they're slightly damp. You must supply your own iron cloth. You only pick up an iron without an iron cloth once. I don't know whether your mother has one of these in her small laundry, but if I ever see you using a box mangle to wring out excess water, you will be instantly dismissed. Think of it as a flattening machine. Always use a mangle cloth, and everything that comes out of it should be perfectly flat and perfectly shiny. Now, we come to Saturday. That's when we parcel up all the finished laundry. We send it off to where it has to go, and that means labelling it. It's another reason why we don't use commercial laundries. So what we have to do is make sure it's dated, numbered, the house it's going from, the house it's going to, so on and so forth. Now, do you have any questions? I'm sorry, what was that? Do we have a washing machine? No, we certainly don't. It's far too much effort. Why would we go to all that trouble? Does your mother have one? Do you want to do yourself out of a job? So, I think that we've seen all we need to now. I shall perhaps usher you into the servants' hall, and Mrs. Crocombe will procure you a cup of tea. I shall read through your character, and we shall give you your expenses for your fare. Thank you so very much for coming to see us. We'll let you know.
about you about this tour. What? It's very wonderful. I hope you can visit in real life about the Audley End House. And this is very very important, and you must to see ever in your life. Rifki Maulana, goodbye.